broadcasting live from California. Get ready for an hour of pure, unapologetic conservative talk radio. This is The Wise Conservative Show. Good afternoon and welcome to a very special episode of The Wise Conservative Show. This week I've put together a best of The Wise Conservative Show episode. I hope you guys enjoy, and I will be back live next week. What I really believe President Barack Obama has forgotten is he's not a king. He's a president. He has checks and balances. I really do truly believe that he has forgotten that fact.
The federal government needs to answer to the American people. Folks, we have over $19 trillion of national debt. We have over 400 government agencies, many of which, over 100, according to a 2012 report, serve absolutely no purpose in providing any sort of benefit to the American people. And yet you and I, the taxpayers, are funding these agencies, which are riddled with waste, fraud, and corruption. Nobody within the federal government is being held responsible for the actions they are taking.
The second you say you're conservative, and I know this from personal experience, the second you say you're conservative in our education system, people just outright hate you. There's many people who just outright hate you because of it. You could have never even talked to this person in your life, never even looked at them, but they heard through the grapevine that you're conservative, so they hate you suddenly. I mean, I'm friends with liberals. If they are correct in their debate, I'll let them know. I do not decide who I hang out with, who I'm friends with, who I debate with, based on their political ideology. I do it on whether they can actually bring forth facts or all that. But that's not what the left does, folks. That's not what they have done for the past 20, 30 years. For the past 20, 30 years, they have continued to, anytime a conservative says anything, they just say it's wrong. I'd say after Reagan, they started doing that. And it's gotten worse, and it will continue to get worse. This isn't going to change, folks. It's not going to change, especially with the problem within our education system that we have. Our education system is so liberal that this will never change. The conservatives will always be outcasts because no one's doing anything about it. There's not enough of a movement against it, which there should be. And that's why Youth Revolt is even an organization. There should be a huge movement against this liberal indoctrination, liberal bias in the classroom. But there's not, and that's sad. It's sad that Americans throughout the entire country have to grow up in an education system that doesn't show them both sides. They have to go to colleges that don't allow them to debate. In this country, colleges used to encourage debate so that people could see both sides, so that they could decide what is right, so that they could make decisions for themselves. But now the left, they don't feel that you should be able to make your own decisions. They feel that if you make a decision contrary to theirs, it's automatically wrong. If you have an opinion contrary to theirs, even if you have correct statistics and facts, it's automatically wrong. I'll never understand that about the left, and I'll never understand that about our education system.
The experts, these crackpot experts, are somehow claiming that Zika virus is going to get us all. And now they want an additional $2 billion in order to fight this virus.
Because we don't spend enough money already.
No, not at all.
So the thing about Zika virus is, well, these experts, they claim that it's such a horrible issue that's definitely going to wipe out America. But no cases have been contracted in the U.S. yet.
No, you get all these people who are traveling to Brazil and Argentina, and they bring back their dirty, filthy diseases, and that's how it gets spread in the United States.
You know, I really want to just go into the mind of one of these people and wonder why. Because I wonder why they're even going to these countries that have the viruses right now.
Well, I mean, to visit family or vacation or whatnot. But, I mean, I want to put myself in the mindset of these pregnant women that are going. The only real harm that Zika virus poses is to pregnant women. So I really want to know why these pregnant ladies, these pregnant Americans, are going to these countries that are having such a huge problem with this virus to begin with.
Well, of course, Zika virus goes really well with springtime down in Brazil.
Oh, yeah. Great combination.
Yeah.
This is just like Ebola, H1N1, the West Nile virus. I think the list goes on and on.
Oh, yeah, it just keeps going on. I mean, every year it seems like there's a new, quote, pandemic.
And every year, a few dozen people, if that, most of the time probably not even that, die at the hands of Ebola or H1N1 here in the United States. And you send the whole public into a pandemic hysteria because the media and the CDC likes to play up on this so much. It's so hyped and so... In reality, if you look back last year, for instance, if you look back to the Ebola scare, Ebola didn't pose a threat to the United States whatsoever. You had, 3 Americans come down with Ebola?
Yeah, something like that.
And they were all put in these sterile clean rooms where probably the cleanest place on earth. It posed no threat to anyone. It was all just media hype because they wanted to get those ratings. And nothing gets ratings like hysterical Americans.
Breaking news. We're all gonna die.
Exactly. Look at any time it rains out here in the United States. They have Death Tracker 3000.
Storm
Water
of the
is
century.
falling from... Yeah, the storm of the century. Water is falling from the sky. Now, this is just the media playing up on everyone's fears like they love to do so much.
In the past week, there have been many attacks in Europe. Just a couple weeks ago, in Nice, France, there was a very deadly attack. A couple days ago, a man in Munich shot up a mall. These attacks aren't going to stop unless we name the enemy, unless we actually bring the fight to them. And the United States has the largest military in the world. Whether you like it or not, we are the police of the world. We keep prosperity and peace throughout the entire world. And the fact that Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama don't want to use that strength, I don't know, it astounds me. It astounds me that they don't want to actually keep the world safe from radical Islamic terrorism. They'd rather be hosting corruption parties, taking money from different people and then giving them favors through the government. They'd rather be taking more power from the states and from the people than helping the world. They'd rather be sitting, just joking around, sitting at home sleeping, instead of actually protecting the world. We have to put boots on the ground, ladies and gentlemen. Whether you like it or not, this has to be a war that has to be fought. And it's going to be fought. But it's not going to be under Obama or Hillary Clinton. And these bombings, these shootings, are going to continue to happen if we let that woman, Hillary Clinton, into the office, the Oval Office. And we can't let that happen, folks. We can't let this continue to happen because innocent lives are being lost because of the incompetence of our current administration. Innocent lives are being lost because our current administration, they're too weak to actually name the enemy. They're too weak to actually say, yeah, that's radical Islamic jihadism. Why don't we go kill those soldiers? Why don't we go kill the people fighting for ISIS? For Al-Qaeda, for the Taliban, for Boko Haram, for these terrorist organizations
They're waging jihad on America. He says that we stoke fear of Muslims. Well, folks, have you noticed any Christians going around having any mass shootings, blowing themselves up? Have you noticed that recently? Have you noticed any Christian terrorists recently? Because I sure haven't. We're not stoking fear of Muslims. We're telling the truth. It's radical Muslims that are attacking our country and our allies. It is radical Muslims that are in the Middle East in a group called the Islamic State. It's not radical Christians in that. It's not radical Christians yelling Allahu Akbar as they blow up some building. It's not Christians that just attacked a Catholic church and slit the throat of a priest. No, it's radical Muslims that are doing that. So we're not stoking fear, we're just telling the truth.
Bill Clinton is also out there. He's one of the few people actually defending Hillary on this issue. Mostly because he's also involved in the Clinton Foundation. He said that they were trying to do good things with all of these donations towards the Clinton Foundation. And quote, "If there's something wrong with creating jobs and saving lives, I don't know what it is. The people who gave that money knew exactly what they were doing." Yep, that's being corrupt and getting favors. I have nothing to say about it except that I'm really proud. I'm proud of what we've done. Well, Bill, why wouldn't you be proud? You've created this crime syndicate that can't be taken down. You're not proud because you helped someone. There's no proof anywhere that the Clinton Foundation has actually been charitable to anyone besides the Clintons. You're not proud of creating jobs. I don't even know where that would come in with maybe some of the legislation that the people have paid to pass has created some jobs. And so he defends it. He completely disregards the statistics that were brought up. Him and the rest of Clinton's campaign, they completely disregards the statistics that point towards this corruption. And they do this all the time. And I'm getting sick and tired of it, folks. You know, it's been 40 episodes. This is our 40th episode of the Wise Conservative Show. And probably half of these episodes, there has been a scandal that Hillary Clinton has been involved in that we've been talking about. There's been some sort of corruption that's been brought forth to the light that Hillary Clinton has been involved in that we've had to talk to you guys about on this show. And yet, after all of these scandals, all of this corruption that has been proven, after all of this, Hillary Clinton has a possibility of being the president of the United States. Hillary Clinton has a very good chance of being the president of the United States. I don't understand how any American citizen can look at all that Clinton has been involved in, all of the scandals, the countless number of scandals, the corruption that has been pointed out to America and to the world, the leaked classified information on her private email servers. I don't see how any American can look at this and say, yeah, that looks like presidential material. I don't see how anyone can look at that and think that Hillary Clinton is even qualified to hold the Oval Office. She's just about the least qualified person that I could ever think of to hold this office. And yet because Trump has said a little bit of mean things, they think that he's way worse than Hillary Clinton. They think that he's a horrible option because he tells it how it is. And this is one of the sources that liberals often use because it's, quote, unbiased. The New York Times, CNN, MSNBC, all of these sources that the left says is unbiased, it's unbiased because the left agrees with it. And then our one news agency, Fox News, which honestly isn't that conservative. They have journalists on it from every opinion there is. They have debates regularly on it between liberals and conservatives. Honestly, Fox News is way more balanced than any other channel. But because Bill O'Reilly has a show on it, every liberal thinks that it's extremist, right-wing, anarchist news agency promoting racism and going back to slavery. Just because liberals don't agree with it. That's why. Because they don't agree with something, it's suddenly racist or wrong or misinformed. And this is the problem, because I'm in speech and debate, and all of the statistics I have to use, all of the quotes or news stories I have to find, they have to come from sources like CNN or the New York Times, because those are the unbiased sources. And I have to use these in debates, because they're not biased according to the left. That's taking over all of the social media, all of the media in general. It's generally biased towards the left, no matter what. And conservatives get one or two news sources, and we can't use them. But the left gets every news source they want, because you can't have anything biased to the left. That's unheard of. It's just unbiased in telling the truth. Because saying that Trump is a threat to the Republic, a bigger threat than Hillary Clinton's unsecured servers, that's not biased. It's just the truth according to the left. Once again, I'll never understand how they can claim that they're the tolerant ones. That they're the ones who are all-inclusive. That they're including conservatives and liberals and libertarians. Everyone. They include everyone. But the fact is, they don't. The fact is, they don't include conservatives in anything. They don't even include, like, libertarians in anything. If you're not liberal, you're not right. That's all they care about. And you know what? I mean, I can't blame this all on liberals for our country being so polarized. We've had conservatives that have contributed to this polarization as well. But it is the liberals who continue to pound it into the ground, who continue to say that just because someone is conservative, that everything they say is wrong. You know, if I'm in a debate and a liberal actually brings up a correct point, a good point, then you know what? I'll say you're right. But if we turn it around, if I say something that is correct and right in a debate against a liberal, it can never be correct. Because a conservative said it. Because a liberal news agency didn't say it. And that's why our country is as extremely polarized as it is. Because they've taken it over the edge. I was talking about the Clinton Foundation, how they've recently found out that more than half of the people that Hillary Clinton met with, who are not government officials, while she was Secretary of State, more than half of these people also donated to the Clinton Foundation. 85 of 154 people donated a combined $156 million to the foundation. This is proof of what we've been saying for a long time. This is proof of the corruption that we've been showing. Those comments that I just played on Donald Trump, that was probably the first thing you heard after the intro. Well, that was Trump's response to this whole issue. You heard in there that he called for a private investigator. Well, that's because everyone knows that the Attorney General is on the side of Hillary Clinton. Loretta Lynch is just about one of the most corrupt individuals that you can ever even talk to, that you can ever ask to prosecute someone. So a number of Republicans, including Trump and the chairman of the RNC, a number of Republicans are calling for a private investigation of the Clinton Foundation and Hillary Clinton. The Clinton campaign responded to this whole, this new scandal coming into the light by saying that people were cherry-picking these statistics, that the Associated Press didn't look at all of her meetings for this. They said that because the Associated Press did not look at the meetings between Hillary Clinton and foreign executives or representatives from other countries, that these facts don't matter. Folks, once again, this is Hillary Clinton and her campaign trying to cover up the corruption and the lies and the scandals that she has been involved in. She's up to probably over 30 scandals at this point. By the way, this is day 263 of her not even holding a press briefing. Because she's already in the spotlight enough with all these scandals, it's a wonder why she's even the nominee. Vice presidential candidate Mike Pence commented on this whole situation as well on Tuesday. He said that, quote, Hillary was on Jimmy Kimmel last night, joked about it, said her emails were boring. Hillary Clinton, this is not a laughing matter. Nobody is above the law. He then went on to say that the American people are sick and tired of pay-to-play politics. And that's exactly right. And that's exactly what it is. Pay-to-play politics. You give the Clinton Foundation $100,000, $1 million, whatever the cost that Hillary Clinton figures out that your request is worth. You pay that to the Clinton Foundation. And whoa, look at that. You suddenly have a bill being debated on the floor of the Senate. Or whoa, look at that. Now, the U.S. government has interests in your country and is going to do trade with you. This is as high as corruption can get. The Clintons are essentially a crime syndicate. She commits all these crimes. She uses corruption to get special interests. She doesn't use proper protocol when it comes to storing emails and classified information. Yet they get away with all of it. They are the most corrupt individuals that I have ever seen in the political spotlight. They are the most corrupt individuals that I ever think have been in the political spotlight. So the FBI just recently uncovered 14,900 emails that Hillary Clinton did not turn over. Hundreds of these emails are said to be released before the election. Now, this is once again Hillary Clinton. She lied. And she actually makes a lot of jokes about this email scandal. Take a listen to this audio she had from a speech.
By the way, you may have seen that I recently launched a Snapchat account. I love it. I love it. Those messages disappear all by themselves.
And people have the audacity to laugh at that. People have the audacity to think that that's funny? Seriously? Our national security was at risk because of this woman. Our national security was at risk because she was too lazy to carry multiple devices. And she acts like this was nothing. She acts like this email scandal was just another blip. Just another scandal that she doesn't care about. Now, if you haven't noticed this, we talked about it last week, and it's been all throughout the news. Republicans are trying to seek charges for perjury against Hillary Clinton. And this recent uncovering of 14,900 more emails might just help them. But honestly, that's never going to go anywhere. Those charges aren't going to go anywhere. Because in order for anything to even happen, the Attorney General has to approve the FBI's investigation into it. And guess what, guys? Loretta Lynch is not going to approve this investigation. They're not going to approve the FBI to look into whether she perjured herself. Why would they? Then Loretta Lynch want to get a position in Hillary Clinton's presidency. Because we all know that's what it is. We all know that she's guaranteed Attorney General as Hillary Clinton's administration. And so she's not going to make any decisions. She's not going to investigate anything that could actually harm Hillary Clinton. Of course, Hillary Clinton, time after time, interview after interview, investigation after investigation, claimed that she turned over all of her emails. Now, of course, this wasn't the first batch that they uncovered that were not turned over. These ones she deleted from her server. And the FBI brought in some specialists to see if they could trace them and get them back, to recover them. And they got them, but nothing's going to come out of this, sadly. Once again, Hillary Clinton will escape this scandal. She'll escape it unscathed because people just don't seem to care. I mean, just like those people in the clip, the people who are laughing at that Snapchat joke. How, those messages delete themselves. Really? Really, Hillary? Really? Her supporters are laughing at that? But you know what? It's not as bad as Trump because he says mean things. That's what they always go to. They always go to, he's racist and he says mean things. You ask the same people that laugh about this, you ask them, how is Trump racist? They say, he wants to build a wall. Because that's racist. You ask them, what mean things he said that actually have turned you off to his campaign. And they say, he doesn't like illegal immigrants, or he's racist to all people. It goes in a circle. Because they don't have any logic behind it. They don't have any logic behind thinking that Hillary Clinton is innocent. Because she didn't have intent to be extremely careless. The countless numbers of times that the Barack Obama administration has prosecuted people who have accidentally leaked classified information or left it unsecure. They've been the top administration who have prosecuted that crime. And when Hillary Clinton does it and she doesn't have intent, oh, it's okay. She didn't have intent, so who cares? I just don't get it, folks.
Right now we're going to discuss the LAPD and their delay in the deployment of body cameras.
Easy for you to say.
Right. And then we'll be moving on and bringing out the safe zone.
Ooh, sounds scary.
Dun, dun. Actually, I need Twilight Zone music. But first, let's go ahead and talk about the LAPD.
So this full-scale deployment of body cameras is now not expected to happen until fall of next year, 2017. This project is estimated to cost $58 million.
Now, of course, the LAPD is renowned as one of the most corrupt and biggest waste of money. They waste so much money in the entire United States. They're right up there with like the NYPD and all the huge police organizations we have.
Well, then again, is any government agency efficient?
That's true. They're citing the $58 million as being too expensive to roll out these body cameras. Yet, the LAPD budget totals over $1.1 billion a year.
Oh, God.
Wrap your mind around that number. $1.1 billion for one police agency.
That's a lot of tax dollars.
That's a lot. And making this whole notion that the $58 million is too much money absolutely ridiculous is the fact that in 2010, the LAPD spent over $7 million having Google help them set up their new Gmail accounts.
They're so complicated to figure out.
Right. Gmail is it's a huge tech hurdle.
You know, those newfangled devices.
Yes, they spent over $7 million having the tech agency set up their new email service.
I don't know. I got a little confused back in 3rd grade when I got an email.
Yes, it's quite ridiculous. So here's the real problem with this. The LAPD is known for being huge. They're corrupt. They have all what is up with me? They have all sorts of violence issues. Just all around. You don't want to deal with the LAPD. Body cameras are good for the police officers, and body cameras are good for the public. Everyone benefits when people are on camera.
Exactly. Then we won't have this whole, like, Trayvon Martin situation, all of these different thugs happening. We won't have any of those situations if we have it on camera.
No, exactly. A local police agency here in Southern California, I believe it was Rialto, the Rialto Police Department, they rolled out the body cameras for every officer, and I think it's been a little over a year. In the year that they've had them, they've had the number of police violence incidents go down by a lot. I forget the exact number. I think it was like 50 to 75%, and somewhere in that ballpark.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah, a lot. And more importantly, they've had people accusing police officers of violence and making all these false accusations that are so common now in our against our police agencies. They had those go down by an equally large number, somewhere above 50%.
Wow. So, I mean, that's just proof in the city of Rialto that this definitely works.
That it 100% works. And the fact of the matter is that when people are on video, not only is the police officer going to behave better, but everyone who has to deal with him will be on their best behavior if they know that if they do something wrong, it's going to end up as evidence against them.
Oh, yeah, definitely. People aren't going to go and attack a police officer if they know they're being recorded.
No, it's a win for everyone. And I'm sorry, the excuse that we don't have the logistical data side of things worked out yet is completely atrocious. In this day of age, there is absolutely no problem with having to store, video. And you can even store it for something like 100 days or a year before it's written over again. But you just need it there long enough so that if a problem arises, you can go back in and you can find the video. You don't need to keep it forever, just long enough to ensure that no problem has come up.
I don't know. That might be a little too complex for LAPD, who couldn't even set up Gmail accounts.
That's true. We're going to need to bring in Gmail to set up their cameras.
Spend another, $7 million on that.
Oh, no. That's probably like 50 million of the 58 million they need is to have someone show them how to use a camera.
It's a very complex device,
Well, of course, the LAPD only employs the brightest and the smartest dropouts from high school. Moving right along, we're rolling out the safe zone. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a no mean word zone.
Sounds like the best type there is.
So, it seems that every week, an equally ridiculous, absolutely insane request is coming out of college students from all over the United States. This time we are focusing on the University of New Mexico, and apparently the university is drawing criticism because its official seal contains a Spanish conquistador and a frontiersman.
I don't know, that seems pretty scary.
Yes, Native American groups are calling it racist and offensive. What is absolutely asinine about these allegations is that the conquistador and the frontiersmen, as they're calling it, are just standing there. They're not doing anything. They're not standing over a pile of dead bodies. They're not holding up an Indian scalp. They're just standing there.
Is there even an Indian in this seal?
No, not at all. But apparently it's offensive because history.
Well, we got to try and cover up history, you know?
Right. One student went so far as to say that to have this seal on my diploma is an insult of the highest order.
Wow, highest order. That seems extreme.
I'm not sure the student understands what an insult on the highest order is, because I can think of a lot of things that are a whole lot more insulting than having a conquistador on my diploma.
Oh, especially if you actually go and put a Native American on it and have the conquistador doing something with him.
It's not, like I said, they're just standing there. They're not holding up a dead body. They're not holding up like a scalp. They're standing there doing nothing. It's a part of history. We come from these frontiermen, as they're calling them. We come from these people. We come from these colonists. And what happened is history. We expanded, and without our expansion and without all these people that are here because of these frontiersmen, these Indian tribes wouldn't be able to live tax-free and rake in billions of dollars in their Indian casinos off of the white man.
But they're still oppressed, Dakota.
Yes, very much so, seeing as that they don't even have to follow federal law or pay taxes.
No, dude, they have it way harder than us, who have to pay so much in taxes, have to pay just about every little thing we buy has so much taxes on it.
Well, I think we really just need reparations.
Oh, obviously.
That's what they really need. Just hundreds of billions of dollars.
Not just from, what happened to natives, but also for slavery, too. I think so.
I think the white man is evil.
Oh,
it's time
obviously.
for him to pay his fair share.
Yeah, and we shouldn't be able to have, free speech and fly a Confederate flag either.
No.
That's just racist.
Exactly. Moving on, still in the safe zone. Dun, dun, dun. The University of Wisconsin has issued a warning to campus bandits who have been ripping down safe zone posters that pepper their campus. And the chancellor is issuing a statement in which I quote, "Stop doing it because you're making others feel unsafe."
Oh my god.
We need these posters to feel safe. This
I don't know,
campus is mean.
A piece of paper is really secure. It really makes me feel so much safer.
Those words are mean. I don't like those words. You can't use them.
Oh my god, I'm really ashamed of our generation.
That ashamed. That's a mean word. You're not allowed to use it in the safe zone.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was a little intense right there.
That was intense. Very intense.
I don't know. I'm shaming someone now. That's horrible.
Absolutely. You can't shame. No shame. This is the safe zone. We are equally happy. That's a good safe zone word. We're happy that this generation has reached down inside with their emotional side and decided that everyone needs a safe zone. That brings us joy.
Hey, words can break bones, dude.
Words are scarier than nuclear bombs. They do more damage.
Oh, God. I really just can't understand the mindset of the people who really want these safe zones.
It's really ridiculous. And if you look back, if you look through all the generations of modern American history, our generation has to be the most screwed when it comes to running this nation in 10, 15 years when we take over for our parents' generation.
Well, of course, because so many of the people in our generation, they grew up with just getting a participation trophy. They got a trophy for doing nothing.
There are no winners here. Everyone's a winner.
It's that mentality that is really driving these safe zones and that is driving even the socialistic point of view that so many of them have.
I think we need to remove GPAs from college campuses.
Well, yeah,
They
that
discriminate. They
Yeah.
discriminate against people who don't do well because of their background or their whatever else they use as an excuse for their lower academic performance.
Well, tests are racist,
Very racist. That piece of paper looks at whoever and says, "Oh, you're white? I'm going to be easy." It's the system is broken.
Well, of course, it's all rigged right now, dude. It's
Right.
all rigged.
So I think in these safe zones, no GPA,
No, of course not.
no free speech, because obviously if you aren't allowed to say mean things, then free speech isn't allowed in these zones.
They don't really think about that aspect of it, though. They just think about their feelings.
I mean, it's really ridiculous that on college campuses you have what is supposed to be an academic area where you can have discussions, you can debate on different philosophies, different mindsets. It's really sad that our university system has degraded to the point where you're not allowed to talk about things that might offend people, despite the fact that you're on an academic campus where in the past this sort of thing was not only encouraged but actively happened.
Oh my god, imagine how bad this would get if free college was a thing.
Oh, the whole free college debate is ridiculous. And here's why. Our university system are already overcrowded and underfunded. We already have huge problems of college graduates graduating with a bachelor's degree and not being able to find employment because they decided to do something like, I don't know, like liberal studies or women gender studies or something that has absolutely no employment skills.
I don't know, it sounds pretty useful to me.
Right, if you're constructing safe zones. Of course, you don't have the math knowledge in order to buy the right amount of fencing or something for the math zones, or the safe zones. But we already have a huge problem with people graduating from college, not being able to find jobs, and yet people are arguing that we need to let everyone go to college because that's just going to help our employment numbers so much.
Well, of course, if everyone has a degree, everyone gets a job.
I mean, here's the problem. Not all college majors, not all college graduates were created equally. Some majors are inherently more useful in the real world than others.
Wait, are you telling me 19th century feminist black studies isn't as important as a medical degree?
No. Oh, we're in the safe zone. I mean, yes, it is. But the problem is that a lot of these majors that are inherently easier are what a lot of these people end up taking and then not being able to get jobs and then complaining about student debt. And then the cycle spins around when they want free college because they chose a bad major that won't ever pay bills.
Well, they're just not really thinking. I mean, we can see throughout the entire time in their college experience they weren't thinking because they were going with such a useless major.
I mean, if you really want to give away free college education, if you really want it, why don't we encourage people to go into the STEM, the sciences, the mathematics, the engineering, the majors that are actually going to benefit the country and allow us to continue to be innovators in the world? Why don't we give students who decide to challenge themselves I guess a break on their college education? And if you want to go in and you want to have a major in medieval literature, that's fine. But you're not going to receive this, let's call it a scholarship. We need to be encouraging students to get into majors that will not only allow them to find employment, but it will help the nation as we continue to struggle to maintain our spot as the lead nation when it comes to tech, when it comes to science, when it comes to math. We're quickly falling, and if we don't encourage students to get into these fields, we're going to be passed by these nations like China and India.
No, we can't do that, Dakota. That's too logical.
Right.
Liberals don't think about logic. They just think about what they want, what they think is best, not what actually works.
Right. As long as you're having fun in college is what matters. That's as long as you can make every frat party, you're onto something.
Well, then you get a degree in frat parties.
Is that a new degree?
It probably is.
I really wouldn't doubt it, actually. Wow. Let's get out of the safe zone. I'm tired of it.
Really? I like the safe zone. There's no mean words.
No mean words. I'm building up this like inner rage of not having said anything mean. I'm gonna explode now.
Well, we are old, mean conservatives.
Oh, very old, very mean. Drawing criticism, and rightly so, for a statement she made in which she claimed Libya was largely a success because we didn't lose a single American life. It appears that Hillary Clinton forgot about the terrorist attack in Benghazi. Go ahead and take a listen.
Kind of calculation. And we didn't lose a single person.
We didn't lose a single person.
Kind of calculation. And we didn't lose a single person.
Apparently, the woman can't even be bothered to remember about the 4 Americans that died because of her. So, a while back, I think it was 2012, Hillary Clinton spent almost a week in the hospital for falling and hitting her head. I really think that's starting to show. She can't remember the terrorist attack that happened on her embassy. She's barking at the Republican candidates. And she also, this week, made a statement that she would be more than happy to put thousands and thousands of people out of jobs because she was going to be shutting down the coal industry. Folks, I don't know how anybody can vote for that woman. If you really sit down and look at her, she's utterly a mess. Okay? She's proposed things that would put thousands of Americans out of jobs. She's said things that would completely ignore the Constitution. The Democratic Party likes to sit there and laugh at the Republicans. They're saying that our primary race is a joke. But really, sit down and look. You have a front-running candidate barking at Republicans. I think every other word that comes out of her mouth is a lie. I'm sorry, but the Democratic race is in a much sorrier state than ours is in.
Now, I want to really shift gears towards this new North Carolina bill. This bill that would require you to go into the bathroom that, well, is for whatever gender that your birth certificate says. So those who are transgender, males who are transgender to be female, they would have to still go into the male bathroom. Now, after this, many liberals have said that it's discriminatory to the LGBT community. It is apparently discrimination, according to these people, to want a guy to be in the men's room. It is apparently discrimination to want a woman to be in the woman's room. These are just... It's common sense, folks. I do not want to be going into a men's bathroom and have a woman in there. I do not want one of my relatives, like my mom, for example, I don't want her going into a woman's bathroom and have a man in there claiming that he's a woman. These transgender bathrooms are quite honestly idiotic. Because anyone can claim that they are anything, they can just walk into it, they can harass people, they can do whatever they want, and just claim that they're that gender. I'm sorry, but there is no claiming whatever gender you are. You were born as a certain gender, you are going to stay that gender until the very end of your life. Your DNA says you are a male, your DNA says you are a female. There is no in-between, there's no sliding scale that liberals love to bring out. There is male or female. And there's no changing it. Now, with this bill being passed, PayPal has said that they will not do any more business in North Carolina until it is repealed. Now, many other corporations are joining PayPal in this ban on North Carolina, threatening to move their businesses elsewhere. Well, you know what I find ironic about this, folks? I find it ironic that these businesses, such as PayPal, are threatening to leave North Carolina for them being discriminatory towards gays when they're still doing business in Middle Eastern countries. Countries like Saudi Arabia, countries like Iran. These countries that are not only discriminating against gays, but also are hanging gays in many circumstances. They are beheading gays in many circumstances. This is so hypocritical. Once again, the left is being hypocritical to try and shame conservatives into doing whatever the left wants them to do.
Meanwhile, they go and completely use hypocritical viewpoints and go and do businesses with Saudi Arabia, go and do business with Iran, go and do business with all of these Middle Eastern countries that are way worse towards gays, towards women, towards any minority than America is. Quite honestly, if you are in America and you are gay, you are bisexual, you're whatever, you are treated 1,000% better than you are in any of these Middle Eastern countries, these Muslim countries. These countries that the left seems to try to protect. These countries that the left seems to love. It is extremely, extremely hypocritical of the liberal left in America. Now, another part of this bill was that it overturned a section that was LGBT protections, meaning you couldn't really be discriminatory against these people. You couldn't say whatever you wanted. You couldn't oppose it, really. Now, in regards to this bill, Kasich has said that we shouldn't write a law about this. And, well, quote, we should learn how to get along. That is his solution. We shouldn't repeal or write a new law that protects our First Amendment to not agree with someone. No, instead we should just learn how to get along, because that's worked in the past, because that's going to work now. John Kasich is quite honestly out of it. He does not know what is going on, not only in this election, but in the entire world. He is in his own fantasy world where we don't need to enforce laws. He is in his own fantasy world where a conservative isn't actually that. John Kasich claims that he is a conservative. Yet then he goes and he disagrees with so many conservative ideals. He goes and he disagrees with this North Carolina bill, which quite honestly is one of the best bills that has been passed in recent history. This bill is protecting us. This bill is amazing. But John Kasich says, why don't we just learn how to get along? John Kasich, I don't even understand where your brain is going with this. I don't understand how you are even still in this presidential race. He doesn't think that we as Americans should be able to say that a woman doesn't want a guy in the same bathroom as them. He doesn't think that a guy should be able to say that he doesn't want a woman in the same bathroom as him. Because that's discriminatory. That's not including everyone. That's not getting along. He is just as bad as Hillary Clinton. He is just as bad as Barack Obama. John Kasich is essentially the same as the left. He claims that he's moderate, leaning right, that he's still conservative. But quite honestly, I don't see anywhere where he's conservative. Everything he has done in his state of Ohio has been liberal policies. His welfare has more than doubled. He is not a conservative. I do not see how he continues to claim that he is this conservative that he is not. I don't see how he claims that he is a Republican when he does not stand for any Republican ideal. But tying this back to the beginning, folks, this is exactly what the establishment is. The establishment, such as John Kasich, they're not really what they say they are. They are rhinos. They are Republican in name only. They do not care about what is actually going to help this country. They do not care about conservative policies or conservative ideals. These establishment people, such as John Kasich, do not care about your First Amendment. They do not care about your Second Amendment. They do not care about any of these rights that you have. All they care about is power. All they care about is money. Now, these establishment people, they are fighting right alongside with the left and these LGBT communities to try and repeal this bill in North Carolina. People like John Kasich. Now, that is just ridiculous. It is astounding that anyone who claims that they are conservative would ever say that we shouldn't pass this law. This law that keeps men in their own bathrooms, this law that keeps women in their own bathrooms. This law that is common sense. This law that should have been passed, quite honestly, a long time ago. And quite honestly, it should be passed in more than just North Carolina. This should be in just about every state. I mean, I know it won't pass in California or in New York, but all of the rest of these conservative states, they definitely need to pass it. Because this law is necessary. Because what happens when a guy claims that he's transgender? He claims that he's a woman now. He goes into the woman's bathroom. No one's going to stop him because they're afraid of discriminating, of hate speech, of hurting someone's feelings. So they're just going to be like, oh, well, he claims that he's a woman. Well, he should just go ahead inside. Then he goes in there with ill intentions. He goes into the woman's bathroom and harasses them, or worse. There are reports of that happening with transgenders being able to go into either bathroom. There are reports of that happening in the short span of time that it was a thing. So this bill that kept men into their own bathrooms and women into their own bathrooms essentially stops that. It stops the danger of what happens when transgenders can choose, when people who just feel like a different gender that specific day can choose which bathroom to go into. Now, are there some people that feel like they're different genders? Yes. But are there also some people who use this to their own advantage? Of course. People are always going to take advantage of these laws. People are always going to take advantage of things like that, where it gives you the choice of either bathroom. I don't see who in their right mind would pass anything that allowed someone to go into either bathroom. I don't understand their thought process. And to think that people like John Kasich are defending allowing transgenders go into either bathroom, that's just astounding, folks. It's astounding that someone like that claims that it should be allowed to happen, that we should just learn how to get along. I'd like to thank you guys for tuning into this very special episode of The Wise Conservative Show. If you want to look at more episodes of The Wise Conservative Show, go ahead to Spreaker.com/TheWiseConservative. You can find us on YouthRevolt.org, on Instagram @the_wise_conservative, and on Facebook, just search up Youth Revolt. I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in. As always, thank you, and God bless.